If you were starting from scratch and you knew nothing and had nothing, no information, no money, no knowledge, what would you do? So that's something I get asked, pretty often. If I didn't know anything, if I started from nothing, what would I do? And with 2019 coming up, with the whole New Year's resolutions and stuff like that, I decided I was gonna make this video to help people out who have no clue what to do and where to start. So let's start quickly with this video, guys. The first thing I would do is to cut expenses. All unnecessary expenses, get rid of them. Start to live a simple life and be okay with living something more simple than what you're probably used to. A lot of people, love to spend money, and especially, in my experience, some of my most broke friends are the ones who spend the most money on, stupid things. So the first thing is to cut all expenses. Learn to live a life where you don't need the most expensive things, and instant gratification isn't something that, has a total grip on you. At least for now, learn to live with less than what you're probably used to. So that's the first thing. The second thing is something I picked up from one of my mentors. This is one thing that I believe 100% in right now, but it wasn't always the case. So that second thing is get a job. I know a lot of people, probably don't want to hear that, or, thought I would say something different. But the second thing you want to be doing is putting your ego aside, and going to get, a job, just a regular job where you can actually start earning some money. I used to think, probably just like a lot of you guys, that, getting a job and working a job like that is probably kind of counterintuitive and not something you want to be doing. At least, at first you want to be, grinding and, just putting your all into this and being broke and being poor and not having money and just working on your business. But looking back at it, right, from my own experiences and the experiences of some of my friends, is that you don't want to be in such a tight spot where you can't focus on your business. When you have a job, right, you're able to understand that you can pay your bills, you can, get food on the table for yourself and maybe for, your loved ones. And, you can actually just kind of feel free in that sense that, you don't have a cloud following you that you don't know where your next meal is going to be, or if you're going to get evicted from your home. On top of that, right, you want to have some money to be able to invest in your business, which if you're not working or if you're not doing something, you won't have that money that you need to potentially have a better future for yourself later in life. There is an asterisk though, right? To anything that you're going to hear, right, there's always the asterisk. And in this situation, guys, I would say get a job. But there are, downsides to this. And I know this from personal experience from my friends, that I know that, they found a job simply to kind of, have some money to invest in themselves, invest in their futures, but they end up getting stuck in that job. They get up getting, comfortable with the money that they're making and don't ever feel true pain to, fix something, right? Obviously, they're still complaining, they're unhappy, but they don't feel that pain that makes it enough for them to actually take action and do what they said they were going to do. And on top of that, there is a second asterisk to that whole statement, which is you want to be getting a job in sales. It's not just any job that you want to be getting. You want to be getting one of two jobs that I'm going to talk about right now. You need to get a job that's going to help you with certain skills that you're going to need in your life, right? From my experience, my not long experience as an entrepreneur, a few years, I've learned that there are some skills that, luckily without knowing it, I had learned that really, really do help me, right now, and I'm sure will help me again later in the future. Before I started Amazon, probably already, most of you guys know this, but I was working a door-to-door sales job, honing my skills that I would need, again, for the future. I didn't know this at the time that it was going to help me so much, but I was, that was a job that I knew was potentially going to help me a little bit in the future. I just didn't understand how much it would. It helped me so much because I had a fear of sales, right? I was so scared of going up to a door or going up to someone and speaking to them and trying to sell them something. I was petrified at the door. I remember standing in front of the door and just having my heart racing, but I knew I had to, knock on that door, because if I don't knock and if I don't talk, if I don't talk, I don't get paid. I was working purely on commission. So if I wasn't knocking on every single door, if I wasn't doing my best to get a sale, I was going to go home with nothing. I was selling window cleaning door to door. Eventually I had, grown out of that door to door sales and actually decided to just start my own, window cleaning company with a friend of mine. And we ended up doing door to door sales like that as well. But at least it was for ourselves. So if I was starting today, right, I would really, really highly recommend doing something, that involves sales. So in the ideal, scenario would be you would get a door to door sales job. Go out there, get rejected, get embarrassed, get, scared and cringy, but do it, because for God's sake, it's good for you, right? I cannot I cannot, put into words how helpful it was to just put my ego aside, put my, kind of confidence on the line like that, and get rejected. Most of the doors are going to reject you. Most of the people are going to reject you, but it builds an inner confidence in yourself when you are able to close someone, when you are able to convert someone who doesn't give a shit about you into somebody that's willing to actually, give you money. And I know, a lot of people probably don't want to hear advice from someone who's, this young and kind of telling them what kind of job to work or what to do. But in reality, right, like in my limited time as an entrepreneur, I've already seen, I've experienced so much, and I have seen, more success than most people have in their whole life. So I feel like I do have, some sort of credibility there to say that, door-to-door sales and, sales jobs in general, whether it be on the phone or not, really do help me, really did help me, and really will help you, kind of take that next step, convert you to, a successful entrepreneur, which, is what a lot of people say. They say that you need to have sales experience if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. So the only reason I'm telling you this is because it worked for me. On top of all those sales that I did, door to door, I also worked as, phone telemarketing kind of thing, but really for myself. I was building out my social media marketing agency with a friend of mine. Again, this was, while I was doing also the door to door in my own, window cleaning company. I was trying to think of the future. And at that point, I thought that I wanted to do a, media agency. And, at the end of the day, right, I was doing, phone calls constantly. I was taking phone calls and I was getting rejected, and I was, feeling embarrassed and, all this stuff. But again, it's something that you're going to learn from. So if you don't want to do door to door, if you're embarrassed of that, or if you just don't think that's something viable to do for you now, go get a sales job where you can at least, talk on the phone and, get rejected that way. Maybe it'll be less embarrassing, but it will still, help build your confidence. People are going to yell at you. People are going to hate you, but it does build inner self-confidence. On top of that, right, these sales jobs are usually also done in the evenings, which makes it so much better for you and for me if I was starting off from the beginning, because, you can work all day on your own business, right? Whatever, all morning till the evening around 5 o'clock. What I noticed is, for my door-to-door sales and from when I was calling, people, was that, you need to do this in the evenings because that's when everyone is home. That's when people are available to talk. And if you're going door-to-door sales, you need to know that when you knock on the door, people aren't going to be at work. So you show up, 5 p.m. and often until like 8:30, you're just knocking on doors and talking to people. So that leaves you the whole day with time to work on your own business. That's why it's such an ideal match for, doing your business as well. So step one, again, was cut all luxuries, right? Live a simple life. That means no Chipotle every single day for lunch, no, crazy luxuries, no going out to the theaters and spending, $20 on popcorn, none of that stuff. Stay home, pirate whatever's new or cool that you want to watch or whatever, and spend that time at home for free. Or better yet, don't waste your time with movies. Step two was, get a sales job. So if you don't already have a job, get a sales job, something that's going to embarrass you, something that's going to challenge you, and something that's going to give you the thick skin that you need, for the rest of, kind of your entrepreneurial journey. Okay, so now step number 3. So what I would do if I was starting from scratch today and had nothing, knew nothing, would be to start reading a ton of books. If you're anything like me, you probably hated to read books from an early age because you were always forced to read, shit books in school that you didn't give a fuck about. But, to be honest, probably some of those books were actually pretty useful and probably pretty good. But to be honest, I just hated authority so much that I didn't care about the books. I just didn't want to be forced to do it. And that in itself turned me off so much to books as a whole throughout my life. Until the age of like 19, I had read like I finished like 2 books, through the whole period just because of like spitefulness and because I'm stubborn. I had finished like 1 book, I don't remember what, and probably like a Harry Potter book or something. Other than that, I did not read books. I stayed away from them. I thought they were nerdy. I hated them, but I didn't realize why, right? Until I was older, 19, okay, until I was older. And I realized that, a lot of the successful people out there are telling you this stuff. They're telling you to read books for a reason. There has to be some sort of reason. And I thought that, either I can continue to be stubborn and, not care about books and think that I'm too cool for books, or that, they're not useful and I can just, brute force myself through most of life without actually, listening to this advice. Or I could listen to people who've already done it and just give it a shot, just see what happens. How could it hurt me to just read a few books? So obviously I decided to, just put my ego aside and stop being stupid for once and just, put my all into reading books and kind of listening to people who've already done this, learn from, the greatest that have ever lived, people who are, still alive today. And even, those who aren't, you can learn all of their, secrets, all of their knowledge, all of everything that they've learned in the books that they, that live on forever. And I attribute, most of my success and most of the things that I've seen in my life today to reading books and to learning from other people who are so much smarter than, me and you, and just have lived through so much more than I could possibly imagine. So definitely read books. Number 3 would be read a shit ton of books. And, there are a few types of books. A lot of people kind of don't know which books to read or where to start. And, that was me also. I was also in that boat. But there are a few types of different books, and, 3 types that I would, kind of tell you that you should be looking out for and should be, reading. So in my case, it was all nonfiction books. I, was kind of in this area in my life where I just wanted to learn about self-help. I wanted to learn about like my own, just myself, and just kind of motivate myself to, be more and be better than be the best version of myself. So like I said, for me, it was all nonfiction. And the first type of book that I would recommend you read is, mindset books, which are, essentially just like mental masturbation. And what I mean by that is that there's like kind of, if they're not used correctly, you can get stuck in a loop where you never ever leave these, mindset books that really don't teach you much. They just teach you how to have the proper mindset. And there is a time and a place for this, because, I feel like motivation and drive is kind of like a fuel tank. You can read a book and it can refuel your tank. So there's definitely a place like that. But if you get stuck in that place, you're just basically, it's just mental masturbation. So you don't want to get stuck there, but it's definitely a type of book that you definitely want to read. So type 2 of books that you want to be reading are sales books. And I've actually, used sales books in the past to, again, learn, how to sell better and how to, basically how to sell better, right? And market and stuff like that. So there's a ton of books like that as well. And you definitely want to read those, because there's a ton of amazing knowledge information in there from, again, the greats that, the greatest salesmen of all time. It'll definitely help you in any business that you go into. And it's knowledge that you absolutely need to have if you want to be an entrepreneur. Type 3, this one is less, talked about and less, popular. But it's actually reading autobiographies. And autobiographies, while they can be kind of dry at points, I mean, I really don't find them, but some people can find them dry. They are some of the most, again, valuable, information that you're ever going to see. You get to look straight into the life of somebody, again, that is just one of the greats, right? You're not going to read books of people who, haven't done anything. You read books of people who have accomplished stuff that you want to accomplish. So, looking into an autobiography, it's basically someone's life work. It's, what they're leaving on this planet forever. And they kind of leave everything in there. A lot of these books aren't, very popular. They're not read by many people, but the people who do read them, the people who do get the information out, those are the people who are going to see like unreal success, especially if they implement the same things that are taught in those books. So you got to read books in all 3 of those categories. There's other books out there that would be really helpful, but personally, those are, the book types that I would be reading. And what I would do after, cutting all my expenses and living a simple life, reading a shit ton of books and getting a job in sales that I could work in the evenings and work on my business during the day. The next thing I would do is start an online business. 100% hands down, I would start probably an e-commerce online business. E-commerce is one of the most unbelievable things happening, right now. There are so many people who are seeing such crazy success from, selling physical products online that, this kind of success and this kind of thing online hasn't been seen in the past before, right? The internet is fairly new, so this whole, sphere is very, very new. Okay, so you're probably watching this and you're gonna ask me, what kind of e-commerce business that I would start. And if you guys have watched the channel or know what the channel is about, obviously I would start an Amazon FBA business. There's really no such business in the world where you have such, insane upside where you don't have to go out looking for customers or clients, because all you really have to do is, tap into something that is already existing, something that already has so many customers. You just have to tap into it. And, that thing is Amazon, and it allows you to tap into it. It's an insanely huge existing customer base, a never-ending customer supply. And all you have to do is find out how, where your puzzle piece fits in that puzzle. In reality, with an Amazon FBA business, you can have a fully operational business in just a few months from literally anywhere in the world. All you need is a couple $1,000s for inventory, a laptop, and an internet connection, and that's it, boom, like you're in business. There's so many businesses out there that are still stuck in the brick and mortar, phase. They realize that, they're losing a lot of customers to online, but they just don't know what to do. Recently right now it's like the holidays, and every time I stepped into a mall, I just wanted to shoot myself because there were just so many people there. I would much rather just buy stuff online, and I'm not alone with that, right? Amazon now has like 100 million Prime shoppers. To put that into perspective, right, there's 350 million people in the US, and 100 million of those people are, have Amazon Prime, which is absolutely insane. And to think that it's growing so fast year over year is just kind of hard to comprehend. So that's what I would do. I would start an Amazon FBA business, and then I would look, online, on this YouTube channel, online, other places, on, different forums online and stuff, and just learn everything that I can about Amazon FBA. There's a ton of free stuff out there, a ton of information that you can get, and, just kind of acquire all that information. And if you, want to fast track this, if you don't want to, have a, just a bunch of information everywhere, you can, check in the description below. There's a link to the Amazon FBA Fast Track course, which is my personal course, and it also comes with my personal one-on-one mentorship. And after, I decided what I wanted to do and I learned everything that I needed to learn, I would wait until my Amazon business, the income from my Amazon business outweighed the income from my sales job, where I no longer needed to do the sales job. And then I would focus 100% into my Amazon FBA business and, building brands on Amazon. And after I grew my Amazon business to, 6 or 7 figures, fairly big and substantial, I would think about going one of two ways, right? Either I would look to sell my Amazon FBA business for a huge multiple because, there are really big multiples on, just simple Amazon FBA businesses. So I would do that, or another strategy you could use, depending on what you wanted to do, would be to actually start to grow off of Amazon as well. So, keep selling on Amazon, but also move into something where you can have more authority in, and, your own website, your own distribution centers, and, kind of have a even greater profit margin and be able to provide better for your customers. So to summarize, if I were starting from absolutely nothing today, I would cut all my expenses that I did not need. No Chipotle, none of that crap. I would read a shit ton of books, stuff that would help me, develop my skills, build my motivation, and will help me in my future. And I would get a door-to-door sales job, preferably a door-to-door sales job. If not, just get a telephone, marketing job where you can learn and hone your sales skills. Then I would start an Amazon FBA business, invest into one. I would, grow that until the income outweighed the income from my sales job. I would quit my sales job, and then I would grow my Amazon FBA business, either to a state where I could sell it or where I could grow it off of Amazon as well and have kind of my own asset there. And once you grow a business and sell it, that doesn't mean you're over with it. You can actually, rinse and repeat that. So sell the business, restart, sell the business, restart. I know a lot of people who do that, and they do it to great success. And I'm actually in the process of doing both of those things right now, right? So as most of you guys know, I have 2 sellers accounts, and one of them I'm thinking about considering, selling it for a pretty good multiple. And the other one, I'm actually also currently in the process of growing it off of Amazon as well to kind of have my own brand, kind of my own brand identity outside of just Amazon. So it's not a very complicated plan. It's nothing super crazy, but that's exactly what I would do if I was starting from absolutely nothing, with no knowledge, with nothing in 2019. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider subscribing to the channel. Lots of awesome stuff coming in the future, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.